So I did GCSE
hello.
computing.
Hey everyone, hope you've all had a good and interesting day so far, and hopefully that will continue with this talk. I'll be talking about my personal technical journey, past experience, what it's like to be a female student in such a male-dominated field, and my own personal tips for someone who wants to move into this industry.
So I started off
but first, I'll tell you a bit about myself. My name is Helen Evans, and I am first and foremost a student at Newcastle University doing my bachelor's in computer science. Other credentials do include my year just finished at Sony as a software engineer intern, and my current positions as president of the society and the Get Ahead Scholar with Google. In my free time, I like to attend hackathons with my friends. I also volunteer as a coding instructor with the Code First Girls, who I believe is doing a talk right now in room 1. I learn languages, currently working towards a Mandarin business certificate, and on occasion I break out my violin from its dusty home. My journey in computer science started in 2010 when I started secondary school. Computing was compulsory, and I started learning how to code as part of the curriculum. We were taught a not-so-industrially savvy language called VB.NET. Whilst not the most useful language, it taught me the core concepts of programming, variable definition, classes, loops, and that's something that can be applied to most any language. I found computing a very fun, creative class, applying both mathematical concepts and creative ones. So when it came time to pick my GCSEs, I picked it without hesitation. I was only one of 2 girls to have done this. A-levels was when I had to make an important decision regarding my career path. I was offered a space at a more prestigious sixth form, however they didn't offer computing as a subject. I was deciding between the chance of better education or the chance to pursue computer science, which at this point would have been made inexplicably for a career, and I chose to stay. That was a decision that I never regretted. A-level was even worse, proportionally. I was the only girl in a class of like 13 other boys. I preferred it over GCSE though because there was a lot more freedom in what you could create, and I made a 3D model that simulated eclipses. That was very fun. I got full marks. It allowed me to explore more advanced programming and how it can relate to real physical systems. The next year, I applied to 5 universities for computer science and received 5 offers, including an unconditional from Newcastle. The following year, I officially started university, and after my second year, I decided to apply for industrial placement opportunities, and I officially changed my degree after receiving 2 offers from Sony, which then saw me join Sony as a software engineer intern, an experience that finished less than a month ago.
Yeah, I'm very glad.
My time at Sony was so invaluable. I learned so much, and it was my first real tech role. I was sad to leave, but also excited to finish off my degree as I returned to university this September. In the interim, I'm taking the time to increase my skill set by seeking opportunities, volunteering, and learning. So what's next for me? Well, as mentioned, I'll be returning back to university for my final year, and the future will see me hopefully finishing off with a good degree. For my placement year, I learned a lot about what roles I naturally tend to gravitate towards, and as such, I find myself interested in project managing, working with people, working with programming, back-end developing as well. I also would like to try perhaps a graduate scheme, as that will give me the opportunity to try multiple roles and work out precisely what's best for me. The future would not be happening without the experiences that brought me here, and actually going into university, my experiences were not that technical. Looking over my 3 formative roles, they actually tended towards literary. I worked as an assistant editor at a publishing company for a week as part of an internship experience my school offered. Whilst not establishing any technical skills, it strengthened a lot of soft skills such as time management, much like my time as a student librarian, where I developed customer service skills. The one type of role that really benefited me, I believe, is tutoring and mentoring, which I did within 2 capacities, as an English mentor and with my first paid job of a maths tutor at Magic Cats, which I did for the year preceding my A-levels. Again, like with the other 2 jobs, neither were related to computer science. However, being able to tutor someone demonstrates and infers a lot, such as understanding, patience, and leadership. Even whilst at university, I worked as an outreach mentor in my second year, going into local secondary schools and teaching people how to code and why it's a valuable career path. Speaking from personal experience, it's incredibly rewarding, and I definitely recommend it for developing your skill set. And if you've already done that, it's a great stepping stone to transferring skills. And now for the question, why did I choose computer science? Why should anyone? Why should you? Well, for one, it's incredibly rewarding. It strengthens problem solving and critical thinking, as when given a problem, you need to find a technical solution, test it, keep working on it until it works. It's a job where you get to practically apply your skills and see what you make, and that is so gratifying, I think, at least for me. And it's much like an artist, you can see how all you can do can make a difference and make a product. And unlike an artist, it's easier to edit it.
Something that
there's also a
quite
huge amount
interesting
of online
with,
support, a
jobs
giant
is that
coding club, and it's a great online platform to start your journey on. As a woman, it can be inundating to go down this road, and the theme you've heard today multiple times alludes to the gender imbalance in the field. How close are we to equalising that? Is it even that bad? Well, I can't begin by denying that there's not a gender imbalance. Even looking, I think all of us can agree, when we were in the lecture theatre, you can clearly see the gender imbalance. But personally, I do not think that being a woman has affected my career at all. In fact, this is probably the best time to be a female computer scientist, as everyone is waking up to how bad the proportionality of it is. If anything, the real issue is not how to get into it. The issue is once getting to choose it in the first place. And the statistic that was told to me by the person who was organising this event is that 17% of computer science graduates are women. And this statistic is not really changing. As stated, and when I taught in outreach last year, there were 11 boys and 2 girls, which works out around 15%, which shows that even years down the line, that's not really changing. It's about breaking the mindset that it's not just for boys, which hopefully this day has really opened you up to that fact. What makes matters worse, or perhaps alongside, so I'm just going to move what makes matters worse, or perhaps alongside, is imposter syndrome. Something 66% of women suffer from, which is over 10% more than the statistic for men. It has definitely been something that I've suffered from myself. It's been shown that when women apply for a job, they only apply when they have 100% of the requirements, whereas men are confident to apply if they have at least 60%. And that applies to all industries. In fact, this is such a prevalent thing that women tend to, Google offers this imposter syndrome talk to women because of that. Yeah. And it's believed that the main reason that women feel supported to go into computer science is when you have that support network. Because without that, we're just going into a field with self-assured men in already a male-dominated field, and that can be quite daunting. Which is why it's so important that today is happening, and you're seeing a lot of people advocating for a fairer system, where you can get support network and pursue a career that is genuinely so rewarding and fun. So I'll now just finish off with
further helped me when coming into uni
with my own tips to how you can use tech. So number 1, build your network, which directly links to point 2, so I'll get that out of the way. LinkedIn. Your network will be your most valuable resource. You'll have people approaching you with job offers, you'll be able to build a profile and really make a mark for yourself, connect with people you know, connect with people you meet, display what skills you have, make posts, reach out. You'll be genuinely surprised who you can connect with and what connections you can make. Number 3, go to events. Any event you feel like would be beneficial for you, like today. So, good job. You signed up for this event, you're here. You'll learn, and you'll also have a great opportunity to network with like-minded people. Number 4, join communities. You have Bright Network, you have SEO. There are lots of communities out there who basically compile a list of opportunities for you if you don't have time to collate them and look for yourself. Number 5, practice coding. There are tons of online resources. For example, Code Academy, Udemy for learning. You've got HackerRank if you just want to do coding challenges. You've also got companies like Code First Girls, who I mentioned earlier, who actually offer free coding lessons, and you can get a certificate, put it on your LinkedIn, so it all links quite nicely, and that's a really great way you can practice. Number 6, hackathons. Similar to point 5, but this time you work towards something with a quick deadline with friends or with a new team. You can code, you can win prizes, you meet new people. Also, in this new world, virtual hackathons are a thing, so it's very, very easy to get involved in this. If team coding isn't your thing, personal projects, this coding will be something personal, like a website, or maybe just something you're interested in making. It shows real practical application of your skills and helps you build a great portfolio to show at an interview on your website. You can just show what you've made. And the last tip I have for you is just to keep learning. It doesn't even necessarily need to be tech related, just to keep motivated and learn more about what you're interested in. But yeah, that's all from me. I'll open it up to see if there are any questions at all. If not, I'll hand it over to Nadia for the next talk.
It can be rather frustrating trying to locate errors along the way. But the end result and satisfaction makes it all worth it, in my opinion. Definitely.
but
Now, don't get me wrong, you don't have to
okay,
like
well,
maths
in that
or be
case,
good at it to be good.
thank you very
doing
much for
anything
listening.
tech
I hope
related.
you got something
A lot
out
of
of it.
my friends
And
in my course never
feel
did
free
maths
to connect on
A-level
LinkedIn.
and didn't really enjoy
Happy
it
to
at school, to be
support.
honest. So please
oh, there
remember,
is
this
a
is just
question.
my own personal opinion.
No.
So my form teacher
Okay.
in sixth form at school was also my computer science teacher, and we spoke of my love for problem solving when we were trying to decide what I wanted to do as a career and what I wanted to study at uni and everything. She first mentioned
Helen,
that she
did you
thought
want to
I'd be good
answer
at
this one, just
computer
'cause you've
science
kind
at
of-
university.
with your
I shut that idea
placement
down
in
right away because I thought it was far too masculine and nerdy. I
Oh,
didn't think
yeah,
I fit
okay.
the classic stereotype of computer scientist, and the thought of being sat at a computer all day
So is
coding
the question more
in a
about
dark and
how
dingy room didn't really appeal to
the
me at all.
male
I also
leader
found
should be
that I
given
had a
better
lack
opportunities,
of
or how
female
you were
computing
given
role
easier
models in my
tasks to do? I
life.
think I'm having
No
trouble
one in my
understanding the question.
family or my friendship group had even tried coding before. Consequently, my
Only
form
teacher,
teacher was
okay.
the only female role model I looked up to.
I would
as she
say
was
the
only
main
woman
thing that I
I
learned in
knew
a
who could
placement is
code.
you don't
If
get
any of
anything
you are
if you don't
watching
ask.
this, don't have
For
any
example,
computing role
we
models
weren't
in your
permanent
life,
staff,
there are
and
so many
we
people
weren't
out there
allowed
who want
opportunities
to
like
help
going to
you and want
events.
to
But I
see
was
you
like, hey,
succeed.
I'm free. I'd like to
Take
go
all
and
the women
represent
who are getting
Sony.
involved in this
So
event,
I
for
think the best
example.
thing to do is
We're
just
all
ask,
taking part
can
in
I do
this to
this? And
help other
same
women
thing for your
benefit from our
male project leader. Just
experiences
be like,
and
hey, I'm
knowledge so that we
interested in
can
like
banish
moving
the
on from
silly
Python.
computing
I'd like to try
stereotype
more
that's in
technologies. Because
place,
if
and
you
help
put your
more and
thoughts
more
out
of
there,
us
then they're
succeed
likely
in
to
life
respond. And
doing
if they
what we
don't,
enjoy.
change your job. You don't want to be in a place where there's like no
Although this
progression
next
for you.
point is rather
So yeah, that's my
controversial,
advice on that front.
I like that I'm seen
Tips about how to
as
arrange
an
placements and work
anomaly being a
experience.
woman in the tech industry.
Well, the
The
obvious
main
way is
reason
just
being
to
is
apply.
people's
I mean, you can
reactions when I
apply to
tell
so
them what I
many
study for a degree.
placements. There are a lot
Now,
out there.
I like
Some
to
people
play a little
actually
game
email
with
them
strangers
themselves. Like
who
they
ask
take
me
the
out
initiative
for
to
polite
email them.
conversation
I
what
remember
it
I
is
was
that
looking at
I study.
Microsoft, and they
And I
had no
usually give them
placements
3
available on that
guesses.
page. So
The
they had a thing
answers
going,
that I
if you're
always
interested,
get
just
from these
click
are
here.
either
So I filled out a
English,
form.
psychology,
This was
art,
before
or
my placement.
geography.
And then whilst I was on
When I
placement, in about
realised they're not
November, they
even
emailed
guessing
me going,
anywhere near
hey,
the
we'd like you to
correct
come in to an
answer,
interview, which is
I
very
finally given
useless
in to
because I was
helping.
already on a
And let
placement
me
year.
tell you, their
But I
reactions
actually managed to bargain my
priceless.
way into an interview for a
They
summer
range from
internship, and it was
laughter
really
and
great. They flew me to
smirking
Dublin.
to
I didn't
gasping
get
and
it, but it was a
praising.
very fun experience.
However, after every
And yeah, I just
reaction
say
I get,
basically
I always
apply,
ask
and you don't
them
know
why they
if
reacted
you don't
that
apply.
way.
So just
And
apply
every
everywhere.
answer includes
Email
something
them.
along the
Don't
lines of,
don't be
"Gosh,
creepy
you
and like
don't
try
look
and
like
find
a
out personal
computer
emails.
scientist at
But
all."
just email your CV out there, apply to
I then
jobs,
usually
and
proceed to
hopefully
ask
something
them
should stick.
what a computer scientist looks like
Okay,
to them.
I think that's
I'd
all.
like to add to that as
Usually
well. I think
includes male.
on how to arrange placements and work experience and
So
stuff. It's very
alongside
helpful
my love
if
for
you know
problem
somebody
solving,
in the tech
I also
industry or
get
anything like
such
that,
a
'cause
joy
everybody's so
that
keen
I'm
to
doing
help
my
each
own
other
part
out.
in breaking this stereotype,
And
and then I
we
am a
all want to
role
see each
model
other
for a
succeed.
woman in the
I've
tech
found
industry,
myself
for all
just
my
through
family, friends,
or
and even the
networking of
strangers who
being
ask me
attending
what I study.
a lot of networking
I hope that
events
this
at
may
Newcastle
motivate
Uni.
and normalise
Some lovely
upskills bossing
people
the
where
tech
I've managed to
world.
get their email and stuff. And even if they
So
can't
now
offer me
moving
any
on to
experience or
my
internships, they
career
could put me easily in
aspirations,
touch with somebody else who could.
and I'm going to be completely honest
Which is
here.
what I found really
Roughly
helpful personally.
6
So yeah,
months ago, I
networking
very
is
nearly
quite a big
dropped out
thing.
of university.
So what you know, who
I
you
was
know,
ringing
like
my
that kind of
parents
same.
every day for a week, floods
Yeah,
of tears.
and yeah, just to add on again
And
to
I know
that is I think
Well,
LinkedIn is
it's
such
gonna
a
that I
say
valuable
didn't warn you
resource.
that I was
Yeah.
going to be rawfully
Yeah,
honest.
I know people
This
who
was
like post going,
because
hey, can anyone
I
get me a, like
suddenly
I've got
started
this
to panic
skills, can
as
anyone
I
get me a
came to the
job?
realization
Yeah,
I
I
didn't
can't
quite
just say how
fancy
much
being a
LinkedIn is so
programmer, sitting
valuable
down to
to
code
anyone.
9
And
to 5,
as
5 days a
Rosie
week.
mentioned, everyone in our
I'm a
field
very
is so
gregarious
we
person. I
raise
love
people up. We're not
chatting
like,
and
oh no,
helping
we want the
people
job.
out.
We just want people to
So I
succeed,
began to
especially because
conclude
women are
that
so
I
rare
wanted a job that
that
involved
we're happy to help
communicating
everyone.
and helping people
So,
out, not
Yeah,
just sitting
definitely.
down at a computer all day immersed in lines and lines of code.
okay, so shall I stop?
Is there any
Consequently,
questions?
Yeah, I'll
I
stop there.
decided to do a little
No,
bit of research
I think
into
that
careers
looks like
with a
it's
degree in
it.
If you want to
computing.
go ahead
I
now.
attended
Yeah.
several
I
networking
think Helen
events,
set
as
the
I
bar really
mentioned
Yeah, I'll pass it on to you.
before, that Newcastle offered, and
Fingers
came
crossed.
across a very friendly technical
Okay.
consultant who works for
Um,
Accenture. He too could code,
Yeah.
but also didn't want to
Can
be
see
a
my screen,
programmer
right?
for a living. He explained his day-to-day routine and how
Yes.
he travels
Yeah.
all over the the
Wait, can you
world
see my
with
screen
his
and me?
job, which to me, I love traveling, so that was just so exciting.
I
know. He had just been sat in the same place all day.
So hi everyone.
Dark
I
and dingy
am
room, as I
Samia
keep saying.
Varghese.
The more I
study computer science at
researched,
Newcastle
the more
University, and
I
I'm
realised that
currently
a
going
computer science
into
degree
my
is
second year.
extremely
I
versatile.
actually started
And you can use it in
last
pretty
year,
much any
2000
field that you want to go into in the future, as a
but
lot
I
of
took a
other
break,
fields depend on coding.
and I'm
And having the
started
skills you
studying again
develop from
properly,
doing
and
computing
this
give you an edge,
I have managed to
causing you to stand out that little bit more for whatever job you apply for, help you stand out from the others. So this eased my anxiety massively. I started to relax a bit more and realise, oh, okay, yeah, maybe I can finish my degree and everything. So I then started to refine my search to technical consulting after speaking to that guy at the networking event, as this involved speaking to customers, and also my technical knowledge would aid me in helping meet the customers' needs for products. So I would be speaking to people as well as, you know, being able to use my technical knowledge that I'm learning at university. So since COVID, obviously uni got cut a bit short. We came home like a week before Easter. So we had quite a lot of time on our hands alongside having to do exams as well. But I have been building and managing a website for my friend's startup hot tub hire company, which I've thoroughly enjoyed. Next month, I also have a 2-week internship in Leeds before I head back to uni. This internship is for a company who develops websites for their clients, and I'm extremely excited to start. Even though it's just a short amount of time, just anything will be so exciting. And I've previously completed work experience in a local software company and a design company as well, to aid the broadening of my knowledge of the tech industry, in hope to narrow down my interests for what area of the tech industry I do want to go into in the future, because it is a huge industry. I really hope that this has helped you guys gain some insight into my own experience with studying computer science at uni. If you'd like me to go into a bit more detail of my modules and the degree as a whole, please fire away with some questions. I'd be more than happy to answer. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to me. If you think of any further questions after this session, my email and LinkedIn are on my profile of this Hopin site. So please feel free to contact me through either of those. So yeah, there we are. Have we got some question? Yeah, Corinne, the numbers are really low. It's very weird when you're in the lecture theatre. There's not many girls at all. But like I said, I don't really mind that. Obviously, it should be higher at all. I mean, not at all. It should be a lot higher, but sadly, it's not. But hopefully, that'll change in the future, definitely. How have you found getting work experience? So, like I mentioned earlier, I'm not sure if you were on, Kimberly, earlier on, we mentioned that, well, for me personally, finding work experience, I kind of found family, friends, tried to find out if they knew anybody in the tech industry, and tried to get their contacts off them. So very much just networking, starting off from people who I know. And like we mentioned as well, LinkedIn is such a big one. But just reaching out to you because everybody is so keen to help each other out. Because you've got to start somewhere. You need to put your foot in the door at some point. So, and everybody's quite understanding of that. So yeah, the main way I've got work experience is just networking through family, friends and stuff like that. So that has helped. And Kim, you're interested in our modules. So at Newcastle, the other two girls can agree this as well. So the first 2 years, all the modules are compulsory. So it involves like maths, programming. So we programmed in Java, and we did websites as well. So we've coded in HTML, CSS, JavaScript.
Don't forget C.
And then what? And C.
Yeah. C,
Personally, for me, I don't really like C. It's quite a low level language and stuff. So no, not for me. But yeah, so there's a range of stuff. And then for third year, which is what I'm going into, I've just last week actually, I had to pick my own modules, and Helen will have gone through the same as well, because she's going to her last year as well now. So it's just a huge range of them. It's quite hard to pick actually. I don't know if you found the same, Helen, did you?
Yeah, I mean, semester one, I was like, I prefer semester two. But yeah, you get to pick a lot of modules, and the good thing about third year is it's basically you decide what you want to learn. So it's very like individual. If you want to go into games development, you can pick gaming modules. Personally, I didn't pick any gaming modules,
No,
but yeah, you
not,
can just choose what you want to do, and that's very great because then you can work it around your dissertation, and it's very flexible. Third year.
What modules did you pick, Helen, for third year?
For first semester, I picked the career development module, the HCI module, the bio-inspired computing. So basically, you learn about things like swarm technology. What else? What else is a good question? And cryptography. Yeah, because I'm like you. I really liked maths. So I remember first year having that maths module. That was great because it was pretty much A-level maths. So the first year of A-level maths, and it was really, really, really nice. And then second semester, I'm doing more modules. So I'm doing the 50-70 split. Yeah, not 60-70.
Yeah,
How about you?
Similar to you. Although I have tried to, as much as I love all the maths modules, I have tried to veer a little bit off them and try challenge myself a little bit because I'm personally quite weak at writing essays and stuff like that. So that's what I think I need to work on. So I'm challenging myself next year to try help that. We've got another question. Do you ask if there's something they want help with, or ask if they have work experience available? For work experience, usually you mainly are just going into the company just to see what it's all like. For the work experience that I've done previously, I've done it through summers of school and everything like that. I've pretty much they gave me little projects to do, but it was really hard because I wasn't as experienced. But yeah, it was just seeing how the company worked, what everybody did day to day, which I found really interesting. But so if you are wanting to ask somebody for work experience, I'd say just asking, if they have any work experience available, or that you're interested in the company that they work in. Could you come into the office or whatever? Obviously not now with COVID. I don't know how easy that would be, but just go in for a few days in the office just to gauge it all, see what it's like. Yeah.
Gabriella's done a good question. I definitely say that there are languages that are more valued in the industry. For example, VB.net, both me and Navi can agree. It's both it's meaningless, basically. It's good for maybe Excel, macros. So maybe if you're going into data analysis, but for the most part, it's not something you have to learn to get into this industry. I'd say the most valued ones, it depends on what you're going into. So for example, if you're going into web development, React is very, very sought after. So React, JavaScript. If you're going into data analysis, Python is a very big one. So it really depends on what field you're going into. From what I can read, finance, maths, I would recommend Python because that's a very standard language in that industry. But yeah, it really depends on what field you're going into, and there's obviously different languages that correspond to that. So that's my advice on that question.
Yeah, there's a lot of, I think there is a few main programming languages that companies do look for. So that's Java, Python, and C# because they're quite well-rounded as well. Even so, for my brother, for example, he applied for an accountancy grad scheme and got it eventually. But a lot of the jobs he was applying for, it was a requirement for him to code in Java, and he'd never done it before. And he doesn't use it in his day-to-day life now in the job he's in. But it's just, I think it is a very useful thing to code. It's because it just shows that you've got good problem-solving skills. But yeah. Want to go into data science route. Do either of you two know a bit more about the data science route?
Yeah, okay, cool, yeah. So I mentioned a few times about Code First Girls. I'm sounding like a real promoter for them. They do offer a data science course. So like there's a lot, so you basically learn about how to compile data, how to visualize data, and it's free. So I definitely say that's a good thing, because you can do a course, you have a certificate at the end, it can go on your CV, and that'll act as experience, even though you haven't paid for it. So it's a great form of experience. I definitely just say look for opportunities. There are free things out there. There are courses out there for data analysis, and you don't need to necessarily have a degree. As long as you have that certificate for a course, it'll show your employer that, oh, I've had the initiative to go out and get this. You can have a degree in anything, really. It's just what you do post your degree. First girls, yes.
Usually, if you start like a degree or a master's, I know that we get taught from scratch. So we get taught coding from scratch. So maybe if you do a master's in data, and if there is a programming module, they will teach it from scratch most of the time. Yeah.
Yeah, well, when I was looking at applying for unis a few years ago, a lot of unis did require that you could code. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know if my memory's a bit hazy, but Newcastle, the main reason I picked Newcastle was because you didn't have to have coded at all previously or done maths, and that was really beneficial for me because I took a year out before university, so I know I would have been a bit hazy, and to jump straight back in the deep end would have been quite intense for me. But it was very good. They were very good at keeping people up to speed, because everybody came into uni on completely different levels. Some had coded loads before, some hadn't. But yeah, they were very good at balancing it all out, and everybody's pretty much on the same level now, I'd say, personally.
That's correct. So Newcastle is quite unique in that it's one of the only universities that offer computer science where you don't have to have maths and you don't have to have done computer science before. And that's why in first year you have that whole maths module that gets everyone up to the same kind of standard. So if you have experience, you can just kind of lie back, be there, get a good grade, and people who need to work on their maths can work on it. So that just kind of get everyone to the same level. So that's kind of a good thing about going to Newcastle in particular, is they offer that to get everyone to the same level.
Yeah. So myself and Helen Kim are going into third year. So Helen's a year in industry beforehand. Well, so Helen's going to fourth year effectively now. But yeah, we're both going to third year. And Nav is going into second year.
Yeah.
So obviously we have our dissertation this year.
Any ideas?
It's still a bit up in the air with Corona and stuff, but you basically get to pick 3 choices, and they try to give you your first choice, but quite a lot of the options are very popular, especially the artificial intelligence dissertation one. I think that's quite popular. But I've gone down the route. My first option is HCI, so human computer interaction, because I found a project that really intrigued me. It was like this little mobile development kind of game for involving nutrition, as well as so you kind of developing your own environment for this nutrition. It's quite confusing. So if you did want to email me and ask me a bit more about that, I am happy to speak about that. But that's what I've gone for. What have you done, Helen? Oh, Helen's gone. Oh, but yeah, there was loads of options. You can do algorithms. That's another one I picked.
As a second year, I'm asking a third year. What would you do in your dissertation? Like, how is it all planned out? Like, I actually don't know anything about it.
I haven't even started yet. I haven't started any of my dissertation stuff yet. So I have no idea. I think if I'm wanting to do the human computer interaction, I get put in touch with nutrition lecturers and stuff like that at Newcastle Uni, so I can do a lot of research, ask them questions, interview with them. I think the big chunk of it is research at the start, and then obviously coming into the development of it and the planning and the writing it all up. So I think it is quite a long process, but I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be good fun. I want to do something. The main thing, I want to do something that I enjoy, because it's going to be taking up a lot of my time.
She's
definitely. Currently studying a master's in cybersecurity. I have to ask some questions about security. Do you cover much about that in your undergrad? Yeah. So for my being a final year, one of the options was network security. So it was security. So you can pick that. I personally didn't pick that because it's not what I'm into. But yeah, there's quite a lot on cybersecurity. You can specialize in cybersecurity in third year. So there's certain modules for that. Yeah, there's a lot that can be covered in funding, but I wouldn't say we've done too much of security previously. We've touched on it, but not into the depth that I'm sure you'd be going into if you're doing a master's in cybersecurity.
And I'm doing the security module that's in third year. So, yeah, systems and network security, I believe, is the name. So we're going to get like a foundation on like protocols and all that stuff. So that'll be fun, especially with cryptography that combined. I think that'll be a very good combination. So you do have some kind of elements of
yeah. Oh yeah, I'm doing cryptography as well. So I guess I'm doing a little bit of security there. Mainly just because it's a bit mathsy. So
I missed the dissertation bit. Yeah, so sorry, my laptop died. I had to get back on. Yeah, I think because when I was at Sony, I worked with neural networks. I was thinking of doing something using that because I kind of already know how to do it. But also I was thinking of continuing off my A-level project because I had a lot of fun doing that. Loads of maths. It was basically kind of like taking like all these equations from science and like trying to simulate it. And I thought I can make it like an educational resource, like people can see what orbits are like, how you can like edit orbits, like how it affects how fast planets go around the sun. So those are the two things I'm considering right now for my dissertation. So piggying back on that question from a while ago. Yeah, I'm looking forward to going back to third year, going back to university for a whole year, living at home.
I know. Oh, are you living at home next year?
No, I was living at home this year.
Oh,
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah,
it'd be nice to get back and to actually be studying again. I feel like we've had quite a long time off.
Yeah, I mean, and I've had even longer. I think a really big difference from working and university is like how much is not on your mind, because when you finish, when it's 5:30, that's the end of the day. You know, you don't have to think about until the next day. However, when it's the day in university, the day's over. You could be working dissertation. You could be like revising. What are you doing? You know, it's always on your mind. So yeah, that's
it's constantly looming over you. That is true when you
exactly. So that's one thing I'll miss about working life. But I'm excited to start learning again because
especially when we can pick the modules, so we'll probably be a little bit more interested in it.
Do you guys have any compulsory modules?
Just
no.
Yeah. So
no compulsory modules except for the dissertation.
Well, the world is our oyster.
And that's very good because then when you apply for jobs, you can go, I've chosen these modules for this job because I really wanted to get into, security, for example. So if you were doing security, you'd do the cryptography and the network security thing. But yeah, the reason why third year is so personalized is because it can be the degree that you want it to be. First and second year, everyone does the same thing. Third year, make your degree your own.
Yeah, because at that point as well, I think if you had to pick your own modules starting at first year, for me, I'd have no clue what I'd want to pick. So it's so good that I've now had 2 years to kind of realise what I'm best at, what I prefer, so that coming into third year I can help myself excel that bit more into areas that I prefer. And like I was saying earlier, the work experience that I did have helped me decide which areas I prefer in the tech industry as well. But yeah, please, guys, if you do have any more questions, because I have a feeling the session's ending.
Yes.
If anybody has... Oh, she's gone again. If anybody has any more questions, feel free to message me on LinkedIn and Nav as well, or email us. Because, we're more than happy to help with any advice or anything like that. Oh, you got back again.
Leaving by mistake. I was looking to see my profile and then it just opened my profile. Yeah, I was just gonna say, like Rosie, message me on LinkedIn. Happy to connect. Support everyone, and best of luck with everyone's career path.
Thank you.
Indeed, and enjoy the rest of the day of the coding event.
Yes, thank you very much for listening.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.